Hello and welcome to yet another interesting package of CSR Digest. CSR Digest is a news magazine program put together by Total Exploration and Production Nigeria Limited to x-ray some of its corporate social responsibilities to host and neighboring communities. Today we shall be looking at youth empowerment through various skills areas. Thereafter, we enter into the discussion segment. Sit back as you savor the interesting package put together today. One of the cardinal objectives of Total's corporate social responsibility is empowering the youth of host and neighboring communities with a view to making them self-reliant. In pursuance of these, and as part of its social contract with the people, Total Exploration and Production Nigeria Limited rolled out some skill areas for youths of host and neighboring communities. Skill areas rolled out include welding and fabrication, woodwork, catering and confectionery, fashion and design, as well as shoemaking, among others. At several fora, the Capacity Development Department of Community Affairs and Development Division of Total EMP have always admonished beneficiaries to take their skill areas seriously, particularly as it has to do with life earnings.
Creating employment opportunities for young people in order to reduce poverty and hunger in our communities is in tandem with the desire of the Total Group to support the socio-economic development of those communities and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. In order to prepare you adequately to commence your respective businesses on a sound footing, an enterprise development workshop will be organized for all graduates of this scheme.
You have been trained for 6 months, 12 months. You are not experts yet. There are people who are already well established in your various fields of trade. Please be humble enough to still learn at their feet. Hone your skills, learn more, improve on your competencies that you've acquired in the last 6 or 12 months. And as you heard, we have in our department or in our division as well, a department that is willing or able or available to help you to further develop your businesses. For those who will be serious, who will not sell the starter packs as soon as they step out of the warehouse.
Rivers State Government on its part pledged to partner Total EMP to develop youths who are ready to grow in business and entrepreneurship, pointing out that it has the political will to improve the economy through youth empowerment. While cautioning beneficiaries against selling their starter packs, representative of the Commissioner for Youth and Employment Generation called on other multinationals to emulate Total EMP to reduce negative vices, idleness, hunger and poverty.
Do not do what? Sell them. Don't sell them to those traders who are waiting. Use them. You'll be monitored. You are now a statistics as far as you are concerned. Whether you're 1,000, we're going to continue to monitor you to find out how many of you are actually doing what you're doing. And let me also tell you, if you do better, they say he that gets and appreciates more is given, isn't it? So when you do better, you don't close the door for others. Total EMP is watching, and they might not be excited if you don't use these things properly. So please do use them well. And let me also add, for you to come on board with us to our website, it means that the global world is watching you. Do you understand that? So you can be getting jobs from outside of Rivers State. They are watching you, so I'm sure you're not going to sell your starter packs. Once more, Total EMP, I appreciate you. And the beneficiaries, I also want to say thank you for painstakingly going through the trainings. For 6 months, it wasn't very easy, but I thank you for showing that Rivers youth actually are rewriting the narrative about them.
Stakeholders in their goodwill messages enjoined youths to eschew violence and embrace peace in order to improve their lives.
Our joint government is asking that we start today to rewrite the narratives concerning skills acquisition. In 2058 alone, we have trained well over 2,000 people. But why I'm going government in asking that we rewrite the narratives is because if there is any area where I think the company has done so much investment and has received so little in returns, is in the area of skills acquisition.
Beneficiaries interviewed expressed joy over what they described as unprecedented in the history of their communities and pledged to utilize the opportunity judiciously.
Be a very great and joyful thing to me, because with this thing I'm doing today, with this trade, this skill acquisition, I think my life will be okay.
I will use it to establish myself, to enable me train others too.
For the past 15 years, according to records, they have been on this training. I say, may God continue to help them, and may God keep them and provide for them the source which they have been using, because it's not easy. So many oil companies and so many firms are there, but it's only Total that has been there for us, for the youths, for the women, and even for the elderly ones. I say God should help them and more grace to their able.
I'm indeed very grateful, and I say a big thank you to Total E&P Nigeria Limited and all their coordinators.
So giving me this opportunity, the opportunity has given to more others. So I want to say thank you to Total PLC.
To the will of God Almighty, I say thank you to Total for uplifting my life.
I really want to thank Total E&P for the opportunity given to me to be trained, and also for providing a starter pack. Yes, so I'm excited.
At every forum, there must be an activity to entertain guests. Welcome to the discussion segment of CSR Digest. Today we are looking at the Youth Empowerment Scheme as it concerns the Corporate Social Responsibility Program of Total E&P. And I have with me a youth leader and a former youth chairman of Obogu Youth Movement, Comrade Kingsley Ogo. Comrade Kingsley Ogo has been here some time ago, and he has been passionate about the growth of youths in OMF 58, and today he is here to shed more light on this issue. Comrade Kingsley Ogo, you're welcome to River State Television.
Thank you very much.
And CSR Digest as a program.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, in what ways do you think that youth could be empowered by any organization?
Well, generally, there are so many ways.
Yeah.
But to be specific, education and skill acquisition.
Okay.
This is because through education, a lot can be unlocked. Through skill, you get one empowered to be employable and also to generate employment opportunities for others. So these two ways are awesome ways to empower youth.
Yeah. When you talk about education and skill, can you expatiate a little? Because education is so broad that. So how do you mean by education?
When I talk about education, I talk about the conventional education, you know, okay, which has to do with early years, primary, nursery, primary, secondary, and university.
Okay. All right. Now, having enumerated all of this, are you satisfied with Total E&P effort towards empowering the youth of host and neighboring communities?
Yes, if we talk about effort, I am deeply satisfied. But when you talk about the result of the efforts, there are a lot more to be done.
To be done, okay. All right. So, how do you mean by this?
What I mean by this, there are so much money budgeted for empowerment of the youth, which, to the best of their strength, too, they are judiciously utilizing it. But the feedback mechanism can be a lot better to ensure that there are results.
Okay.
You spend, you ensure that you are getting results for money well spent.
Okay. All right. So you are looking at feedback mechanism. So, what are the feedback mechanisms you recommend that should be put in place to ensure effective communication of this, this scheme?
Majorly, there has to be a feedback team. They have to constitute a feedback team that will be made up of some employee in the company and some other relevant stakeholders that are of good mind to checkmate actually the impact of what they are spending. Because as it is today, they are spending a lot of money on skills, but the result is not commensurate. Some people enroll in these skills just to get the money. Okay. They don't tolerate what comes after. They don't also get skilled to create employment opportunity for them and themselves and for others. So these things can actually be reduced through a feedback mechanism.
Okay. So now, can we look at this as major gaps that are created within the implementation process? Can we just look at that as major gaps?
It is major, massive gap.
Okay. Now, when we talk about gaps now that are created, don't you think that those beneficiaries, those supposed beneficiaries, are the ones creating or deliberately creating these gaps to ensure that, because for Total itself, they have provided a platform, they have provided the funds, but those supposed beneficiaries are the ones creating these gaps. Don't you think so?
Well, it is to an extent I think so. To an extent I don't agree with you.
Okay.
Because they are spending quite some money on skills, on scholarships. Fine, it is good. And we also appreciate. But before all this, there is need for a proper sensitization, a proper education of the mind to change the mental state.
Yeah.
To make us understand that if you are going to school to better your life, to better your lot. You're not going to school to help the community or to help your father. First, it is you, primarily you, and then secondly, the public, the general public. That aspect of it is not well taken care of. Same thing is applicable in skills.
Okay.
So this is where I feel that Total should do more in spending on reorientation policies, seminars. I recommend seminars, and then actually advertising the importance of these skills, importance of education. Then I also say, why I'm saying that it is something that has to do, is a two-way thing. The stakeholders too, the leadership of stakeholders too, should also help Total in promoting the importance of these skills, because these are opportunities that we may never have.
Okay.
Oil is not a renewable energy. So they are doing these things not because they love us. It's because they are getting from us. And then once this resources is no longer there, I doubt if this attention we are going to enjoy this attention. So while it lasts, we should have this proper flow to enjoy the dividends of
now,
it.
In this case now, are you blaming the lacuna on the beneficiaries or the community, or you're blaming the lacuna on the company itself?
It's a shared responsibility.
50-50, 60-40, or 70-30? How?
The blame should be more on Total, because they have the capacity to set the structure. It's a structural issue. So the blame, I think, is more on Total. If they set out the plans that, listen, for us to release these scholarships or skills, you must call for town hall meetings, educational meetings, orientation meetings, seminars for more than 10 times. Stakeholders have no choice than to do it. No matter how they come, they will do it. I have been once a leader. Once they are firm in their decision, we comply. And once we are also firm in our decisions, they also find the ground to compromise. So those platforms are not there. Somehow too, the blame too is also on the stakeholders, because you don't need to be told to lead their people well.
Now, when you talk about stakeholders, who are these stakeholders? Is it the implementation committee or the community leaders? Or who are these stakeholders?
Stakeholders are not only implementation committee is part of the stakeholders.
Yes.
The youth leadership are part of the stakeholders.
Yes.
The EPA, again, People's Assembly are part of it. They are the principal stakeholders.
Okay.
Total is also a stakeholder in this issue. And then other relevant right-thinking members of again communities are also part of their stakeholdership.
All right, fine. Now, at this point, if these stakeholders should do their job well, don't you think this issue will be curbed to the BRS minimum, where Total will not even have any blame? Don't you think so?
Well, the mentality, and ideally, I think so. But to achieve it practically, it has to be a two-way effort. Total have to play their part by setting the rules. That's what I'm talking about. The structure, they have to set the rules. This is what is expected of stakeholders' leadership. And then the stakeholders have no choice than to comply. So why Total, in this case, should provide a platform? The implementation is more on this on again people's stakeholders.
Okay. Now, so what are your recommendations to bridging such gaps, this lacuna? You have partly answered it, but summarily, what will you suggest or what will you recommend as to a way to curbing this issue of this gap? What are your recommendations aside from impressing it on the stakeholders? What are other recommendations?
Well, the recommendations there are not much to be done. One, there has to be structure. Total should come up with a blueprint on what will qualify someone to achieve, to benefit the skill or scholarships. And then in the structure, and reforming the structure, which will itemize the preconditions for it, the onus should be on the stakeholders, the community stakeholders, to inform their people, to educate their people, to conduct some research. We have the manpower to do that. And then after that, too, the implementation committee, their scope should be widened to include ensuring that there is a proper feedback, to also educate the people that those who have benefited once shouldn't benefit another one again. In that way, if you are aware that you have a chance, just a slot, and you won't go to mess around with it.
A situation where someone will be knowledgeable or will go into a class and got the knowledge, and then at the end they give you a starter pack and you begin to sell it. How do you look at that?
It is a function of the fault, the defects in the foundation. The models of selection of beneficiaries can be better. They are giving it to people who have less interest or no interest in acquiring skills. You agree with me that 80 to 90% of people who sell these starter packs are those who were there not based on merit. Those who don't even need the skill to excel in life. Those who rely on the skill to create a decent means of livelihood do not sell their starter packs. So that is why I talk about the models of selection should be properly scrutinized. I like what is going on now. Lately, the modus is to an extent very scrutinized. But a whole lot
needed to be done. Okay. Now, what are those things that needed to be done?
Like I said, a whole lot, which include for skills that should be. It should not be. It's not. I'm not saying that. Basically, it should be based on those who are less privileged. That shouldn't be the only condition for benefiting it, but it should be more for them. And those too who are not less privileged, but do not have the mental strength to read. That is one. Two, for scholarship, there should be exam, which they are doing now. The exam can be better. It should be an exam that is of national standard at least. I was told that the last exams were just based, were conducted just for mere conducting the exams. It shouldn't be so. And and then to the sharing of scholarships, skills from based on age in the communities, and again shouldn't for any reason be encouraged, because you agree with me that a man who is in his 80s, 90s, those who are the eldest in the families are always in this age brackets, and scholarships are shared among them. So skills, they don't go to school.
Oh, but they have children and grandchildren who could benefit from them.
There is no guarantee that they have. So if you are a man of 90 years, your grandchildren would have gone to school.
Yes.
So why getting that? They get them sold. So it should be based on those that are in school, on performance.
And who are in need.
Who are in need of these things. On performance, it should be performance driven. If this area is actually captured, I'm sure that a lot result will be coming out from these schemes.
All right. Thank you so much, Comrade Kingsley Ogu, for your analysis on this issue. And I believe that Total E&P will look at these recommendations and see what way they can buy into it and then improve on their youth empowerment scheme. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much, sir.
Quite appreciate you.
Thank you.
And I believe that when next you are needed, you will come.
Thank you. Yes.
That's where we draw the curtain on today's episode of CSR Digest. CSR Digest will come your way again next week, God willing. Until then, bye.